From California, blinded in one eye after police allegedly shot her with a rubber bullet at a Black Lives Matter protest, has told us exclusively she has no regrets about joining the rally. 29-year-old Shantania Love, a medical assistant and mum of two, says she's been told by her surgeon it's 99.9% certain she will lose her sight in one eye. She's now suing the Sacramento Police Department. Her lawyer says if they win the case, compensation could reach millions of dollars. It was the first protest Ms. Love had ever taken part in, and she says it's ironic that on a protest against police brutality sparked by the killing of George Floyd, she became a victim of police brutality. She spoke to Victoria Derbyshire about her experience.
It's hard to describe. I keep using the term that it felt like I was shot with a cannon. Like it was really, really bad. It's excruciating pain.
And what do you think about what's happened to you?
I think it is extremely ironic that at a protest for police brutality, I am now a victim of that. I'm devastated. You know, it's life altering. I have to change my whole life around now because of this injury. So my surgeon told me that there is a 99% chance that I will be blind in that eye. So I have another surgery next week.
And how did you react when the surgeon said that to you about the likelihood of you losing the sight in your eye?
Oh, I was devastated. That's hard news to hear after having vision for 29 years and then something this traumatic happens. It was hard.
Wow. When you look in the mirror, what do you think, Nia?
I just feel a lot of sadness. There's times where I just sit in my room and just cry because it's a lot.
The most senior ethnic minority police officer in the UK, Neil Basu, Assistant Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, has issued what he calls a personal message in the wake of the killing of George Floyd and the protests that follow it. In the letter, he urged all his policing colleagues across the UK to stand up to racism. In the letter, he says, what we're seeing in America and here in the UK is anger directed not just at police brutality, but the racial bias built into the very fabric of our institutions and society. We need to listen to our communities and our people and focus on what we in the UK can do better. Taking the knee was and is a powerful symbol of challenge and hope, and I was moved to see some of our officers do so. But personally, I see this as a time to stand up to racists, to inequality and injustice. We can be better than this. We must be better than this. And just before we go, time to tell you the Duke of Edinburgh is celebrating his 99th birthday today. To mark the occasion, Buckingham Palace has released this photograph of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth. The Duke is expected to spend the day at Windsor Castle, where he and the Queen have been isolating during the pandemic. Happy birthday to you. We'll be heading over to the House of Commons in a little while, but right now we'll say goodbye if you're watching us on BBC World. See you soon. OK, let's go to Norma Smith, who is at Westminster as we wait for Prime Minister's questions. Well, what are you expecting, Norman?
Schools. I think it would be very surprising if Sir Keir Starmer didn't pick up on the disarray over the U10 on primary schools. And if you look at how Sir Keir Starmer has approached Prime Minister's questions during the COVID crisis, the basic argument he's made again and again is that Boris Johnson has been too slow to respond and has lacked a clear strategy. And I'm absolutely sure he will pick up the current disarray on schools as further evidence of that, saying there is no clear plan over how to get schools to reopen in September. And he will be helped by the fact that, frankly, there's a lot of disquiet on the Tory benches too. We were just hearing, obviously, from Justine Greening, former Tory Education Secretary, that there doesn't seem to be a strategy. There's no one actually putting in place plans to ensure there's extra space for classes, whether it's putting in place porta cabins or using empty council offices or office space or libraries, or as they do in Denmark, theatres. So I'm pretty sure that will be the thrust of Sir Keir Starmer's attack. What will be interesting is Boris Johnson's response, because you remember last week he slightly blew his top a bit. He kind of said, well, why are you launching these endless attacks? You're undermining public confidence. You're misjudging the public mood. And I think, you know, it's a delicate line he has to tread beyond saying all this is just negative and obstructive, when clearly many of his own MPs do have significant concerns about the failure to get schools back. So it'll be interesting to see his response. The other thing to say, of course, is today